Hey, everybody, welcome into the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena, our show about all things Marvel here on the Arena Productions. I'm your host, Expat, along with my co hosts, Burley and Carl. So, yeah, how you guys doing? You ready to talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Yeah? You guys ready?
We're here for it.
Yeah.
We're
Absolutely.
here for it, man. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So, we went and saw the film. So, this is kind of like our breakdown and discussion of the movie. So I'm going to be playing like a slideshow of images from the film as we talk about it. But before I get into that and before we get into our main discussion, just want to let all of you out there know that are coming to watch this episode of the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena that this will be a spoiler-filled discussion of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So if you have not seen the film yet, please go and watch it and then come back and watch our discussion video here because we don't want to spoil anything for you. So with that said, this is your spoiler warning. We're going to be talking spoilers throughout this episode. So with that said, okay, let's go ahead and get it started. So yeah, of course, the beginning of the film, they had to address T'Challa's death. And I mean, how did you guys feel about, Shuri trying to figure out how to get this one, what was it, a heart-shaped herb? She was trying to synthetically recreate it, and it didn't work in time for T'Challa. He passes before she's able to figure things out. How did you guys feel about the way they dismissed T'Challa?
Get that off the screen.
I think they handled it well. I did like the scene with Shuri. She's trying everything, and like the AI and people are telling her, like she gets everyone out of the room, and she's like, because she doesn't want to be distracted here, and she's trying everything she can think of to just save them.
Yeah, I do like the aspect of her working on a synthetic heart-shaped herb because that's essential to the Black Panther, right? You can't become, well, you can wear the costume, right? But you can't get the rest of it.
Yeah, powers.
Yeah, right. And even, that sort of communing with the ancestral plane. As far as, T'Challa and his death and handling that, I mean, they did what I guess, like, they had to do something like this, and making it a mysterious illness, and I feel like the implication is tying it some way to the heart-shaped herb, like her thinking, like, if she can get that would maybe help him. Makes me think that that's what makes it unique, right? This illness, like, it's not just a regular illness, it's special because he's taken this heart-shaped herb thing, and that's maybe made him subject him to some sort of problem, right? Well, we don't know. They don't really go into it. Maybe they will in some other way, because who knows? Black Panther could come back in a different way in another film.
Yeah. And then, of course, we get the images here of, T'Challa all over Wakanda and everything. So, and of course, the memorial and everything. You see the coffin being raised up into the Wakandan jet there and all. And, it's just like Shuri, she doesn't want to accept that her brother is now gone. And she feels like she failed, in saving him. And now she basically believes that the Black Panther is the thing of the past, So, I mean, and then, her mother trying to comfort her and all, and, trying to get her to move on. I thought that was an interesting, aspect of the film and their relationship, So, yeah. What'd you guys think of that?
Like this, the funeral part, and
well, yeah, from the funeral part and on.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like visually impressive. I like the send off, the ship thing. It was an interesting idea that they pick up the coffin there. I do love the stuff with the mother and the queen, right? And how when she goes to I don't know what council it was, right? Some like world council, and she, has this big moment. And she brings in like, you know, the Dora Milaje, and like, yeah, like we captured these people trying to steal our vibranium. Like,
Yeah,
she makes
yeah.
it. That was a great moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that part. And the last image I was showing, of course, they're trying to bust in there and get some of that vibranium, and then the Dora Milaje just come in and kick butt. I mean, that was a pretty cool scene. Just yeah. I mean, the technology is so inferior to what the Dora Milaje have, to take them all out. And then bringing them into the UN meeting there, and just saying, hey, this is your warning. Yeah, I really like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really a strong moment because she's right in that, like, just because our king died, Black Panther, we don't have the Black Panther anymore, doesn't mean that we're not still, incredibly resourceful nation that has numerous other, tools at our disposal.
Yeah. And then obviously, we get to the part about who is trying to take the vibranium and who created the technology to be able to go out and find that vibranium, and they figure out that it's this MIT student. And so in this image here, obviously, they go to try to intercept this student and bring her back to Wakanda, because they know that of course the enemy that's in this film is after her, of course, in Namor. And yeah, I mean, I thought this was probably the weakest part of the film. But I mean, just them going in and going into this campus and looking for her, and then going to a garage. I don't know. What did you guys think of this part of the film?
I agree. It is the weakest. Like, the character they're going to find is, I wouldn't even say really a character. The character's a plot device, and
She's
it's
a MacGuffin.
just,
Yeah.
It was really bad. It was a character. The movie just made this character as a plot device, and it's like, okay, I don't care about this character. That's like, I know they try to make you care, but it's like, you guys haven't given me anything I care about here. Though I do like with these scenes, though, here you've got Shuri and Okoye, I believe that's
Okoye.
Yeah, their name.
Yeah,
I love their dynamics of going back.
Yeah,
yeah. The two of them, they have a good dynamic and back and forth, and they put out really good performances, the two of them. But you're 100% right, both of you, that like this is the worst part of the film because it kind of slows it down and it's very unnecessary. This is very much Marvel, like, not showing the restraint of like we want to introduce this character, Riri Williams, right? And she's getting her own series, and for some reason they felt like they needed to introduce her here and tie her to the world. And to be honest, the movie in general is too long because of it. Like there was a point in this movie where I was like, oh god, I'm getting a little like I'm always tired, but like, I'm getting a little sleepy, and not because like I'm just tired, just because like this part in the movie is dragging. Like, we're not focused anymore. So you could, I strongly believe they should have cut all of Riri Williams from this movie. She should not have been in this film at all. I don't actually think there's anything wrong with her character. I don't have a problem. I think in her own context, she might have been compelling, but like the way she was used in this film, like, she's easily replaced by the data on her laptop. That's all they needed from her.
Yeah,
it's like, you didn't need to make a whole thing out of it the way they did. We got multiple suits of armor from her. I mean, like, I don't buy it when you do that. I don't buy that she's capable of these things, because you're just telling me she's done it. She's already done it. She can do it. They're not showing me any sort of like process or difficulties, or for her to get to that point. and I don't buy it as much as I bought, Iron Man, the way they presented him building that stuff.
Yeah. And then, the battle on the bridge, I thought was kind of a cool scene and all, the chase scene and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. And then, of course, these guys, honestly, when I saw these characters here, okay, so, Namor's, a group here, I thought I was watching Avatar. I really did.
Blue.
They're blue. Blue like in Avatar. But yeah, I thought the backstory of Namor was interesting, though.
It was.
Yeah. It was really interesting in the sense that, it's like the Mayan culture and all, and how his mother, basically, she perished because of the Spanish, and everybody coming in, of course, then she became, after, her burial or whatever, she had become what she had become, and had Namor. And then, of course, he mutates and everybody else mutates and they become what they become. I thought that was interesting. And so this animosity towards the people living on the land, and those hundreds of years of the buildup of that animosity. I really enjoyed the backstory of him. But, the characters obviously being just as or even more sophisticated and, technologically advanced, kind of like another Atlantis in a sense, from what we see. It was visually stunning what you see underwater there as they go into that, society. But it felt a little off. The way the costume design and everything was. They just, I don't know. It seemed more like Avatar to me in a sense. What were you guys' thoughts of them?
I think they did Namor really well in there, and I think they did a really good job of the wings on his feet there to make it look goofy as all hell.
I kind of thought like the Aquaman of the comics in like the 60s, I think Aquaman also had wings on his feet as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's another story. But, yeah.
I'm not as familiar with Aquaman, so I can't say. But I think they did a good job, because they did change his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
From what I do know with Namor, his backstory, he is Atlantis, their hero of Atlantis. But change it because
Talokan, the Talokans,
change it to Talokan, the Mayan kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think they did a really good job on that, and I do like that. It shows you with him. He tried again going to the surface world when his mom died, and wanting to bury her, and just seeing all the slavery and all that.
Yeah,
and just they go to town on that compound where they go to bury his mom, and then just realize the surface world is not. There's nothing up here for us, and that they just remain under there at peace, all fine, until people started searching
for the vibranium,
and found some underwater.
Yep.
And then they're like, okay, we're at attack, so I got to be prepared for war.
Yeah.
So this is the strongest part of the film, is the explanation of Talokan and Namor and the conflict between them and Wakanda. And I do love the aspect, as I never thought about it to be presented that way, that they also have vibranium, and it's just nobody knew about it because it landed in the water somewhere. And the idea that they became these people who can live underwater is because it formed from a plant, right, that they ingested, that came from the vibranium underwater, which is again the same way they did the heart-shaped herb, which is something that came from vibranium. So I love the parallels there between the two, and how they're making it all seems like there's rules, right, and those rules apply in different ways to the different cities and communities there.
Yeah.
And so the weird thing, I guess, is that they're blue on the when they're out of water. They're not blue when they're in water.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
I was a little confused. I'm like, wait, do they not all? They're not all blue, but like, oh no, they are. When they go out of water, they're blue. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that then of course Namor, you know, I think he's incredible. I guess we'll get to him as we go further.
Yeah.
But yeah, the origin of all of that, and even the concept, like I was saying, the conflict, right? The idea that they found this, they were searching like for vibranium, and then the fact that he's like, yeah, I'm not going to allow anyone to know that we have vibranium or even that we exist, and you know, giving that ultimatum to Wakanda, saying like, you need to kill this person.
You need to kill,
or hand her over, or we'll kill her.
Yeah.
But then it became sort of like, no, we're like, you do it, and we'll see if you'll do it. And you know, it was an interesting sort of like him sort of making almost political moves, right? See what they would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys feel about Ross? I mean, you know, yeah, obviously, and this is the first time I found out in this film that he's actually married to the head of the CIA there, the Fontaine woman, who's putting together the Thunderbolts.
They were married.
They just revealed that in this movie.
They just revealed it. Yeah. I was really surprised at that, but
that's his ex. Yeah.
Yeah, his ex. Yeah.
Interesting way to tie it in. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like he thinks he's got the upper hand and he's got her played and all and stuff like that, you know, as the film goes on. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It was nice to see him back, but I don't think necessarily we needed him in the film. Like I know he is used for later on to, you know, pass through some information, but I think you could have had it not with him. But because I think people really liked him in the first Black Panther movie, so I figured they thought, well, we'll just bring him back.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he is a character from the Black Panther comics. Yeah. Again, the stuff that they do with him probably didn't need to be there. A lot of it, with what's her name, Valentina, right?
Valentina, yeah. Fontaine, yeah.
All that also sort of feels like, we're setting this character up for something else. But I think all of this would have worked as that, like, tidbits that tie into other stuff, if the Riri Williams stuff again wasn't like dragging down this movie's length, like making it so long that like when I see this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess this stuff shouldn't be here either, because it's already so, like, I'm just thinking of like where cuts need to be made to shorten this film down, because it just doesn't warrant the length. Like the story being told doesn't warrant that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's unfortunate, because I think they should have gave him a bigger role, because he was in the first film and he was important, and like he's a Black Panther character, right? Like there's supporting casts for each of these franchises within the MCU, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like he's from the Black Panther franchise, and he should have a significant role in this film, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And then Nakia again.
We'll
get to now.
Yeah, we'll get to now. I really love this character, and of course, obviously, she goes to save, Shuri, and I'll just call her Ironheart, who's going to become Ironheart, but she goes, there to, underwater. She goes to save them, but of course, she's on Haiti, at first, because she had been on Haiti, since the blip, and of course, the Queen comes and asks for her help. And so she goes and she does her thing down there and rescues them and brings them back, and I mean, I'll just say it now. I mean, I really wish, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but I'm going to say it anyway. I really wish that she would have been the Black Panther, and not Shuri.
Obviously, I do too.
Yeah,
I've said this before.
As watching this film, I was really hoping that she would become the Black Panther. I knew probably that because the family and the of course, she's Shuri's the sister of T'Challa. She's most likely going to become Black Panther. I was really hoping for Nakia to become Black Panther, but obviously that didn't happen. But she had a big role in this film, and I really enjoyed her character. I think probably the most of all the other characters in this film. And we're going to see as we get towards the end, when we talk about it, kind of at the end of the film in the mid credit roll scene, the implications of what goes forward. But anyway, let's get to of course, obviously the Namor. He of course he threatens the Wakandans, and he comes with his his soldiers, and obviously Ironheart is on Wakanda, with Shuri, and obviously they come, and they basically flood the city, and the queen dies saving Ironheart, and so there's another funeral service, of course, and what did you guys think of that part? And as the film moves on at that point.
Well, I just want to go back a little, because I love the little speech, because Angela Bassett the Queen calls Namor with the shell, because he gives her a shell to contact her when you have the person, and says like she wants to find out, is their daughter alive, distract Namor and all that. And I love it. He says, you take her back, and you try any of this shit on my people, we will bring war to you. And I love them going back and forth. Like, she should. I hope she does get a nomination, Angela Bassett, for her role in this movie.
Okay, Carl.
Yeah, actually, I also wanted to go a little back to the Nakia stuff, because it was very much like you said she has a big role, but I also felt like she didn't have a big enough role, and maybe that's because the movie's so long and she doesn't show up until like halfway
through,
right into the movie. And it, again, if the movie was shorter, that wouldn't have felt that way. And it is weird, like, it's like I had hoped that maybe she might have been Black Panther, but like very early into the movie, I knew for a fact that wasn't going to happen, just because like this is Shuri's movie, and I know we're not really talking a lot about her, maybe because we're all not that enthused about her, but she is the main character. This movie is about her. I do think it does tell a good story for her. There's an arc there, she has a good performance, right? But I really would have, like, when you see what Nakia can do, and like she's like, oh yeah, she calls her up, she's like, yeah, go, here's your gear, go get her, go get Shuri, and like she just does it because she's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, she seems like the right person. And then when we find out later, I guess it's fine if I talk about it.
Go for it, man.
That she has had Black Panther's child already. I'm a little confused as to why things are the way they are, because he's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. He's been around for, I don't understand. Like, the Queen knows about him. I'm very confused as to why the secrecy so much about that. Like, it feels like there's a different story. There's a version of this movie where she's there all along, all right? And everyone knows about the kid already. Like, so.
Well, maybe she was pregnant when the blip happened, and then she was on Haiti at the time, and then she decided to stay there. Maybe I don't know. But,
well, they do say a line in the post credits saying like, T'Challa and I wanted him out of Wakanda not to be known, because if people knew he was his son, he would be a target. I believe they say something to that effect.
Yeah,
but like, I don't understand why that's an issue. Like,
from the pressure of the throne, I think, because he would have overstepped Shuri to become the next king of Wakanda.
This isn't Game of Thrones. Like,
it could be. Who knows? Maybe
Wakanda
is like Westeros. Maybe.
Well, they just said MCUnews.com. Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister is coming into the MCU.
It's not like Shuri wanted to be. Shuri didn't want any of this. Shuri was just forced into this. She was forced. Right? So like, I just don't understand that dynamic set up for this film, because let's say T'Challa and Nakia just had a child normally, and like, what would be the difference? Why would they not want to then also protect him from all this? Like, there shouldn't be any difference.
Yeah,
He would have just been. I don't know. I feel like it's not handled well, but we can move on to.
yeah. Let's move on to the image here of
Namor
M'Baku.
and
Yeah,
M'Baku
M'Baku. Oh man,
Oh,
that one scene where he like that one, that one guy, he comes up and he smacks him, and then he just hits him back in the chest and knocks M'Baku all the way back. I mean, I thought he was dead at that moment. But.
oh, I was like, if they would have killed him, I would have rioted, because I loved him in the first film, and then just in this film, he's so great. Like, he takes out the one, and he's like, they're not so tough, kind of thing, and then he goes for the others, and he learns, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah, he's really good. Like I said, he's a scene stealer. When he comes in, he's always got a good line that's fun or like smart. He has a way about him. Like, everyone thinks he's not as smart as everyone, but he has a what would you call it? Maybe like a street smarts, right?
Intuition.
Sort of
smart intuition. Yeah. So.
Yeah, right. And he has a great moment with Shuri, when after she's like, I think it was after the funeral thing, and he has sort of like pep talk moment that's really good. And in general, like, the way they place him at the end of the film is also cool too, because it does make a lot of sense at this point for him to be the sort of king of Wakanda. I feel like that's what they're setting up. Like, she's going to be Black Panther, right? But he's the king because he's the one who's got the right ideas for like the direction of the country. And all of its people, because again, he's the one making all the right decisions in this movie.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the technology in the film. Obviously, we see Ironheart here, and she's got the,
God, I hate this.
I knew you were going to say that, Carl. Yeah,
it looks so bad.
Well, it kind of looks like an Ultraman costume in a sense, from the old Ultraman Japanese films.
Guys, it looks great if you're modeling after a toy from the 80s.
Yeah. Can I just say, I have to admit, I was wrong, because I saw this leaked on the internet, and I was like, there's no way it's going to actually look like this in the film. Like, there's something about this is like unfinished, or the colors are not right, something, right? But then, no, that's it. That's how it looks in the movie, and it looks bad. It looks cheap.
What did you guys think of Okoye's Midnight Angel armor?
Didn't like that either. Better, but not. I didn't like it.
That armor was okay, but I do like the whole dynamic of Shuri getting her to wear it. I mean, like, we're fighting these Atlanteans. You don't stand a chance. Like, you need the armor to protect yourself. To protect
the
people.
setup was good. Yeah, for her, because she even said that she hates the way it looks. So I give them that credit, that they're like, there's a character's like, these look silly, I don't like them, and they're setting it up. And yeah, they don't look that good, but I saw on the internet the basis for those in the comics, and it does look a lot like it. I just think they could have, I don't know, something else about it is just not working for me.
Okay, so let's get to, of course, Shuri becomes Black Panther, obviously, and she takes that extract, and then she goes into the spirit world, and you think she's going to meet T'Challa there, but she meets Killmonger. What'd you guys think of that? Were you surprised at that? Yeah.
I love that. That did surprise me, but I love that they brought him back, because he was a great villain.
Yeah.
Actually, really did enjoy Killmonger, so it was nice to not just have him be that one-off villain. He's now gone. No, him brought back, and him telling her, like, stoking her, because she wants vengeance. So she's seeking this out. So who should come? Him. And I love that he's like stoking her, being like, yeah, your mom was okay here. Your dad was he just tearing down all her family members.
Yeah.
Doing that, and all their bad choices or choices he didn't agree with. I love that.
Yeah. Carl?
Yeah, it was a great cameo moment. Like, I didn't really expect it. I mean, that's not like you didn't think it was out of the realm of possibility, but I was like, oh yeah, all right, this is cool. This makes sense. This is an interesting direction, right, for this to go at this point.
Yeah. And of course, then she shows up as Black Panther with M'Baku and everybody, and then she goes off, and then they go on the attack, and of course, they surprise the Talokans, and they have the big fight there, and of course, in the image here, the fight on the beach with Namor, and I mean, there was one part of this battle here, this fight, that I just couldn't understand. Obviously she rips off one of Namor's wings from his foot, and it's funny when my wife was watching it with me, she's like saying, well, will that wing grow back? It's like, at some point.
I assume it would. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I assume it probably will. But what I couldn't understand is she completely gets impaled by the spear, and it's like she doesn't die, and then she pulls it out, and it's like the spear never impacted her in the first place. I just couldn't understand that part of the fight and of that scene. What did you guys think of it?
I can explain it for you in 2 words: plot armor.
Well, okay.
I'm sure there's some the suit has healing factor of it stitched up the wound, closed the wound. Like,
right.
She shows she's still in pain. Like, I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it. But I could, at least this is the justification I'm giving myself.
Yeah.
But it is so heavy plot armor.
Yeah, I didn't have a huge problem with it because it was a good fight, right? They were both really strong, and I guess we didn't really talk so much about Namor. Like, I think Namor, like as a physical presence, as an intimidating factor, is fantastic. Every time he goes to action, he goes to battle, he looks amazing and awesome.
Very intense.
I love the way they do his flight. That he's sort of like. He's like sort of bound off the air back and forth,
just bouncing off.
It's super cool, and I think like she's the hero, right? The hero has to defeat the villain. That's just generally how it goes. Like, I get what they're doing here, and they set it up, I think, well enough in that they made him really powerful and a threat. They showed her using science to figure out, okay, I tried him out. Basically, she got him, she captured him in the ship. She set up the thing to heat him
for
up.
The heat, to heat him up, so,
which weakened him.
Yep.
So when she was fighting him on this island here, which again she was like, also we're going to a desert area, and she didn't quite get there, but because she wants to go somewhere arid, which again will make him weaker. Yep. She's not fighting him at his full strength, and yet still at this weakened state, he basically kills her. Right? He impales her. He could have killed her, right? But he let her go, and he was like, I'm gonna get out of here, because he was also weak.
Yeah.
But the suit, I get, like, it makes sense that the suit would be able to give her some sort of like medical aid, as long as that wound, as long as basically her spine wasn't impaled, which obviously it wasn't. Then I can assume that the suit can give her enough medical aid to get her to get back into it, to do what all she really needed to do. All she did was like roast him with the ship fire. And that was the end. Like, so it's not like she came back into the fight and whooped his ass hard. Like, I think it was well handled. I was okay with it. Maybe you could tweak it a little, but it was fine.
And they basically come to kind of like a pact. It's like, you go back. And
I love the scheming sort of Namor. Like, he's like, now they're our allies, and they're gonna have to stick with us. Anytime someone's like, if we get exposed or like whatever happens with Vibranium, he's like, I got them.
Well, let's get to the scene though with Ross and Fontaine again, where she basically calls him out, and she knows what he's been doing the whole time. And basically, she just lets Ross know that, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to take their vibranium. That's what we want. And I just see this tying into the Thunderbolts movie. In some way, shape, or form.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I don't like that she's like, I bugged the beads immediately. You don't think with all these bead technology that the Wakandans can't tell an American simple bug is on there? It's like that just like
it doesn't. Yeah, maybe. Not.
Like She would have said, I bugged your car. And when he did the one call in the car, when she got out, I can buy that more than I can bug the beads.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you have to assume she has access to, like sort of height of traditional like American technology in the MCU, right?
yeah.
Because she's the head of the CIA, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She was?
Head of the CIA. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it didn't really bother me that she was able to do that. Now that is vibranium, right? The beads, I assume. So she could have just taken it, but I don't know. She wanted to know what was going on. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like they want vibranium, and I think it's a fair point. Like that, there's no reason that other people shouldn't have access to it, right? It's like it's a resource of the planet at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You don't own it. Just like, but I mean, there's an argument, of course. It's in general, like we fight over resources.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that is a real world thing.
Well, that was one of the themes of the film, fighting over resources, like, in the real world. And I like this image here because you see this on kind of like this mural, in Namor's palace room there. And as he's assuring, one of, I think, his like subordinates about, Wakanda, the Americans, and, they're going to be after the vibranium, and, it's Wakanda's going to need our help at some point, everything. And then you see this image here, like of Mayan, this is kind of like a Mayan image here. It's kind of like Namor versus the Black Panther in a sense.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm reminded of that moment with M'Baku again, where he says like he looked into this, he did some research, he's like their people call him Kukul Khan, like he is their he is their god,
Kukul
right?
Khan,
you can't just kill him, because if you do, they will go to war with us for forever. They will never, right?
Yeah.
And that was again, that's like the central sort of theme and plot and choice that like Shuri has to make and understand and realize later on, that like she can't just kill him and plunge everyone into this horrible war, because everyone will suffer if she does that.
Yeah.
And it's a good message. It's a good story. I like this movie. I think it's a strong movie overall. It was just too long. It just needed to be shorter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like this was what, like 2 hours and
45 minutes.
Yeah. They could have easily, with some editing and chopping out some characters, you could easily trim a half hour off. I would say. And I think it would really help the flow better. Like, it's not that I don't like long movies, but if you can't make it flow well, or parts where you're wanting to check your watch, because that happened to me on some of the points of just like, oh, I still got like an hour and a half left.
Yeah.
But these slow scenes, like when that campus scene and stuff, was like, I checked my watch during that, like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I do like long movies too. I mean, Endgame's really long. Eternals is long. I love Eternals, and the difference between that movie and this movie is that like there's so many characters in that movie, and like they spend all the time they need to like give everyone sort of an explanation and a reason, and the plot, the flow is what you were saying, like the flow, the structure of the film, like doesn't like go off this path into like, oh, why are we doing this here? Why are we introducing this other thing that's not really related, or spending too much time on this MacGuffin, that the length can be a problem. And when people think like, what was it? Was it Love and Thunder was like under 2 hours, like slightly, I think.
Yeah, it was around.
Yeah.
And then even Doctor Strange, like Multiverse of Madness, again, like those two were shorter. But like the length of those were good because they flowed properly. They were like more energetic movies. They didn't need to slow us down as much.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like they had their restraint on those films, and this movie didn't have restraint on its runtime.
Yeah. So final little points. Of course, Okoye goes and rescues Ross, and so Ross is probably back in Wakanda now. Ironheart's back at MIT. Who knows how long she's going to stay at MIT? you know, and
Take away her armor so
take
she
away
can
her
go
armor.
do her show and make her own armor again.
Right. And then Shuri goes to Haiti and hangs out with, finds out about the sun. Yeah. So, and
Baby
so,
T'Challa.
Yep. So Nakia and her son, so on the beach, she finally burns the, the ceremonial, the funeral robe, and so she gets the closure she needs. But I mean, going forward, I wonder how the new T'Challa is going to play into this. I mean, obviously he will succeed Shuri as Black Panther, probably in some future Marvel film. Black Panther 3 or Black Panther 4, who knows? Yeah.
I don't know about 3. I think that's just, hey, we have this so we can kick the can down the road. So, because remember, people were worried about this movie with the actress Shuri, her comments with the pandemic and the vaccinations and all that.
Yeah.
So I think this is them being like, okay, if she ever says something we don't like, or she really goes hardcore on something, we have something we can just throw. We can make some bullshit Marvel science and be like, he grew older because of this. Now he is Black Panther.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. For a moment, I thought the way they were gonna end up like defeating Namor was like Shuri was gonna come to a realization that like, why does there only have to be one Black Panther? Like, can we
make Nakia also?
Give it to Nakia, give it to M'Baku, give it to Okoye, and they all like just have to fight him because he's so powerful or something like that. That would have been really neat.
Well, if you give it to M'Baku, Wakanda just takes over the world.
Yeah, but I think now M'Baku, he's like he wants to be the king.
Well, I think she's just letting him go because she doesn't care about the whole ruling and all that, and she doesn't have the temperament. And like M'Baku goes to tell her at the funeral, like, because she's like at her mother's funeral, she's like, it's like, why are you doing this? Your mother asked me to watch out for you and help guide you in all this.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want that stuff. So I think she's like, you know what? He's better at this than me. Let him throw him there because he could do the better job.
Right. Well, yeah, guys, solid film all around. And so next up is, Quantumania, I think it is, Ant-Man 3, yeah. So we saw the trailer. We saw the trailer for that as well before seeing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So it should be interesting.
It's Spider-Man Quantumania.
Yeah.
And in between, we're gonna get remember the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special thing.
Yep. Looking forward to that. So of course we will be talking about that here on the Marvelous Marvel Discussion Arena. So I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-hosts, Burley and Carl. We hope to catch you in the next episode. So take care, everyone. Peace out.